Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
That's what I tell them. Look, I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another episode of the Success Chronicles. And today we are on with Mr. Brian K. Roberson II. Great guy, doing some great things to make a positive impact. And truly grateful to have him on this episode of the Success Chronicles. So first, thanks so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles.
No problem. Glad to be here.
Yes, sir. Well, let's dive into it. I know off air, we talked a little bit about your journey and your story, but if you don't mind, sharing a little bit about that with the audience so they have an idea of who you are and what it is you do.
Well, as I shared, and I wanted to be a principal when I grew up, and I think I'm still growing, but I kind of achieved it so far, all because of a relationship that I had with some educators in my life, but most notably, my middle school assistant principal, Mike Connors. I never forget this name. Most people that know my story have heard the name Mike Connors, Michael Owen Connors, if you want to be formal. Mr. Connors never gave up on me. I was a sixth grader with 44 write-ups, a seventh grader with 12 write-ups, and an eighth grader with 4 write-ups. Clearly, what he did started working with me, but he never gave up on me. He gave me a chance to get it right. And in time, I started getting it right. And thinking about what that one person did in my life, how could I do that for another young person or young people in general? And so around that time in the 7th grade, it was 2 things I thought about being when I grew up. One was a U.S. senator. And I thought about it and I researched it and I realized I couldn't lie to that many people at one time. And so maybe that wouldn't be the profession for me. And so I said, well, if you go into education, you can do it in small groups. And so I said, I'll become a principal. And I made up my mind and God worked in my life. And that is what I am now.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I love it. Just hearing you talk about that story when you said you talked about Mr. Connors, it gave me chills. It gave me chills because all of us, I don't care who you are, where you come from, what failures you may have made in your life, all of us have been influenced by a person or something, and it's influenced us in such a manner that it's impacted us and caused us to be who we are today. And it's so true. Just one, and I just think, as an educator myself, I go about it with the passion of knowing that I'm striving to be a Mr. Connors as well every day, right? Because when you get it's not about you. You got to get over yourself and push through and make it happen, because you will impact and change lives forever, right? And so just hearing you say that, a reminder, but then also appreciation as well, because I had a Mr. Connors too, and so just those kind of things. I wanted to be Mr. McDaniel. He was my elementary principal and my little league baseball coach, and I'll share with you on another time a story. But man, it's amazing how we're blessed to come in contact with those kind of people that just change your life and show you how it's supposed to be, just because their presence is the present.
And what's interesting about that, there's a newspaper somewhere in my office. Last week on last Sunday, they ran an article about me. It was an interview for the newspaper for the Fort Bend Herald, the local newspaper where I'm now the principal. And I made the cover. And being in education, you always say you never want to be on the cover. This was actually positive. And in that paragraph, one of those paragraphs, it talked about Mr. Connors. What's neat, Mr. Connors is now retired. He retired back in 2014. We're still Facebook friends.
Yeah.
Mr. Connors in his upper 70s, and He posted this week, "I'm proud of you," still knowing that Mr. Connors is in my life. Mr. Connors, I wanted to be you. Now I'm doing some great things, and now knowing that he's on the sideline cheering me on. You're doing a great job, Ryan. I'm proud of you. And when he retired, as educators, we always say we want to, if we can just change the life of one person.
Yes. Yep.
At his retirement party in June of 2024, I go back to my old middle school and people are looking at me like, this guy's familiar. And he said, y'all may not have remembered the face, but you've heard the name Brian Roberson. And everyone, they face just, that's him. He said, I've showed you and I've told you the story of Brian Roberson, the kid you can't give up on, the kid that you just got to keep on loving and putting more into because it pays off. If at the end of our career, we have that one kid that we knew we made that difference in their life, it's all worth it. Brian Roberson made it worth it for me. And for me to come up and speak and share our story and share what I was teaching and coaching at that time. Mm-hmm. And these folks, they've heard the discipline story of Brian Roberson. But to see what can become if you just love on that kid a little bit more.
Come on.
Have a few more conversations, pat them on the back, tell them what you really expect of them and how great they can be. It's interesting to see that trajectory where it can go.
So good. I love it. Well, what are 3 things you've accomplished in your life that you're proud of?
I'd say one, mainly because of today and this weekend, becoming a father. That was one of the biggest accomplishments. I have 2 sons, Brian the third and William. Today is William's birthday. He turns 3. And so I was looking at some pictures this morning and of the morning he was born. And that was a big accomplishment. And I appreciate my wife for helping me with that one as well, because she did a hell of a job. She did a hell of a job. Another piece is, I think, career, that becoming a principal. My first principal job 2 years ago was with a KIPP high school in the midst of, well, actually in the beginning of the pandemic. And so I became a principal. I'm living my dream. And the opportunity came in the middle of a global pandemic. It was tough. Learning on the job, but learning on the job from your living room, in Zoom meetings, using Google Docs for everything, not having a handbook to go off of. How do I run a school from my living room? Getting the job and being successful in that job for 2 years, that was an accomplishment. And the other piece is really being able to grow and surround yourself with dynamic people and help them in their journey. I was sharing yesterday, in 2 years as principal, I had 3 of my assistant principals who have gone on and opened or are leading their own schools. The most recent one, she replaced me. One of my assistant principals stepped into that seat and I said, it's your time to shine. I'm happy for you. And so to know that you had people that were your shared leaders now going on and building their own legacy, knowing that the past few years, my campus, probably over 80% of the campus in 2 years were hires by me. And sitting in that seat can be tough because, you know, every decision you make affects the livelihood of adults as well as the trajectory of young people. And so I was proud of the folks that I was able to bring in and surrounding that school community. I'm proud of where they are now and where many of them have gone. It was many advancements with them, promotions from teacher to department chair to instructional coach to assistant principal to principal. I just love seeing people grow and walk in their own light.
Love it. Well, just hearing you talk about your journey, unique journey, hearing you discuss the things that you're proud of, I would consider that to be hugely successful. So let's hit on success. What is your definition of success?
That's one of the hardest questions to just answer, because I don't think it's just one. Right. And it really just goes by the person. For me, success is achieving your dream. Chasing your dream sometimes is just a success, but actually getting there, you can put your hands up in the air. People ask me, what's your dream job, or what was your dream? I'm living my dream.
Mm-hmm.
How's your day? I'm living the dream. My dream was to be a principal, and I'm now a principal. Well, what's next? Well, my dream was to be a principal. I guess I haven't gone to sleep long enough to dream a new dream. And it was like, is that possible? And I always tell folks, had Martin Luther King had a few more years to his life, I do believe that his first dream would not be his only dream. If you have more time, you sometimes dream a new dream. That dream advances, it expands. And so for me, I'm still living the dream. And so for me, success is achieving that dream, setting those goals and working your butt off to get to where you can say, I've accomplished the things that I jotted down on a piece of paper, or the things I thought about when I was in my 7th grade Texas history class. Success is surrounding yourself with other people and knowing that we're growing together. I tell folks, if I'm the smartest person in the room, it's 2 things. Either I'm in the wrong room or I'm in the room by myself. I want to surround myself with the best and brightest people, because that's how you can produce the most dynamic outcomes for young people, for adults, for educators, for anybody, no matter what organization you're in. So success for me is setting those goals and seeing them come to pass.
Good stuff. Well, before we get off, if you don't mind sharing with the audience where they can go follow you and check you out and show you some love with all the amazing things you have going on.
Well, you can follow me on, I believe I'm usually popping on Twitter. I have a little bit of a following on there, and that's at BK Roberson, BKROBERSON, the number 2. You can usually find me there. And I think also on LinkedIn, BK Roberson will usually get you directed to me. I love engaging with people. I love sharing with people. I love seeing other people's story, seeing other people's success, celebrating other people's success. In this work, in this journey, in this walk, you can encounter some times where folks, they ain't gonna celebrate you. They won't champion you, but they're always there to criticize you. And sometimes you need that criticism. It keeps you honest. But I'm committed to celebrating the next person, elevating the next person, doing whatever I can to hype you up, to let you know you're on the right track, because what you're doing is impacting somebody in your community. And what you're doing is impacting somebody in that community. Every community, every kid, every person deserves a champion, and it's you. So go and champion it.
I love it. I love it. Well, again, I just want to say thanks so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles. Truly appreciate it, and I wish you continued success.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. And
Good luck in year 24.
Yes, sir. Got to go get it. And thank you guys for checking out this episode. We'll see you next time. God bless. Go get it.